Hello and welcome to today's 10-minute live. These 10-minute lives are part of a series in which I do not even try to condense my thoughts into like a 90-second reel. My brain is not working in that gear at the moment, and rather than fight it, I'm gonna work with it and lean into kind of 5-10 minute videos that allow me to just share a little bit of what is on my mind. So I've got a vague kind of topic in mind. I'm hoping that I don't waffle too much. Hello, thank you for being here. Wave. And hopefully I'll be able to stay on topic, not waffle too much. But today I wanted to talk all about the positive or not voices that you surround yourself with, and the importance of the messages that you hear around you, and the extent to which you do have an influence over the environment that you put yourself in within the context of learning English, although we could extend this out to other contexts as well. And the reason that I wanted to talk about this today, it came up in one of my lives with Mayu, and again yesterday with Mary. These are the other live series that I'm running, the Non-Native Teacher Diaries. And something both guests said I thought was really, really important and echoed a lot of what I have observed about the industry, more general, English language teaching, but also Instagram world and Instagram life. And Mayu was saying that when she was kind of starting to build her own business and realised that she had to kind of step out of her comfort zone and maybe be visible online and, you know, kind of really step into her authority voice, she realised that she had this very strong belief that non-native speaker teachers just don't have as much to offer. She could never be as good as a native speaker. And what was really interesting about her explaining that experience was that she didn't initially see that as a problematic thought. It was only problematic when it reared its head as like a barrier to what she wanted to be doing. Initially, she was just like, well, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's what I've heard in my context, in the teaching spaces I've been part of, learning English and hearing messages about the teachers. You know, I just knew that native teachers were going to be better. Always. Fact. And yesterday it came up with, in my conversation with Maria, and she was saying about a time that her ex-husband and her had both needed some money and they'd gone for a teaching job, and both were non-native speakers, but her ex-husband put on an accent and said he was a native speaker. They believed him, the employers, and they paid him pretty much double what they were paying her. And again, there's the problem, not going to deny that, but then there was also the thought in Maria's head, which was, yeah, that's normal. It is completely normal, maybe not right, but normal that, you know, expected that a native speaker would earn more money than a non-native speaker. And the reason that I really want to talk about positive messages and the importance of the voices that you have around you is that if the sea that you are swimming in, if the norm for you is sounding like a native is obviously the right thing, having 100% correct English is obviously the right thing, to be advanced means to use this particular kind of language, obviously, you know, using basic English is obviously bad. If you are surrounded by these messages, it is very, very difficult to see that they might be anything other than obviously true. And this kind of came up again. I was looking for guests for the non-native teacher series that I'm running, the diary series. And I was just scrolling through like Instagram accounts that I do not follow. You might have noticed I follow something like 50 accounts. And I regularly get rid of a lot of those people. For me to be creative and confident on this app, I cannot have lots of like I wouldn't say competitors, but like other people in the industry in my head. It just isn't the way my brain works. Which means that I had to go out and kind of look actively for people. So I was looking, and I was kind of maybe secretly hoping that I could get some like really kind of big accounts. And I got Mayu, who I know through some other people, but I was looking at accounts where I'm like, I don't think we have any people in common. I don't think I have a route through to this person. But I was looking to see if anyone was appropriate. And I was scrolling through their content because what I didn't want is to collaborate with somebody who I really didn't think we vibed with, and who would probably just would say things that I would feel uncomfortable arguing against and yet feel really bad afterwards for not having argued against. So I wanted to make sure that these people's like vibe was appropriate for my channel. And what I saw on these people's accounts who have 300,000 followers, 500,000 followers, 1.2 million in one case, was stuff that was very, very good in terms of like Instagram production. Like the reels were sharp, the transitions were good, you know, they were entertaining. But in terms of the messages, they were either quite low value, like maybe sharing a bit of vocabulary. Okay, fine, it gets likes, but it's not really changing people's lives, which is not necessarily everyone's goal on Instagram, but it kind of gave me a flavor of where they were thinking. And actively unhelpful, like actively damaging messages around sounding like a native speaker. And I want to remind you, these are non-native speaker Instagram teachers who are saying this is how you sound like a native, and they're not questioning that. There's a really nice, so for example, like Maria Speaks English has a really nice tiny bit of nuance that she adds to a lot of her like vocab posts, which is like, are people going to understand you? Yeah, of course they're going to understand you, but you could also say this, which I think is a phenomenal way of presenting vocabulary. It's saying, you know, you haven't at all fucked up. People will understand you if you use this maybe slightly incorrect phrase, but we have this alternative. Wonderful. Or, you know, people will understand you if you pronounce it like this. However, if you do want to make it just a little bit clearer, you could change the vowel sound slightly. Okay, those are fine. There's a nuance there. In these accounts that I was looking at, there was no nuance. No nuance at all. It was, if you pronounce it like this, you're wrong. If you pronounce it like this, you sound like a native speaker. If you use this expression in your Cambridge exam, you will not pass. If you use this expression, you will. It was really, really black and white binary. And needless to say, I didn't contact any of those people. Those people are free to exist out in the world. I don't need anything to do with them. But what I did want to talk to you is just to be, I guess, just a warning or an invitation to reflect on the people that you are letting into your, in this case, Instagram circle. Really be conscious of the messages that you are allowing onto your feed. And of course, the algorithm doesn't help. You don't get a lot of the people who you follow, you don't see other stuff, but within your control, really think about the messages that you are surrounding yourself with. And obviously, it's not up to me to say, well, this person is really like virtuous and very healthy in their messaging, but you know what, if you don't enjoy their reels and you don't enjoy their content, they're not the person for you. I do think there's a balance there, and like, find someone who entertains you, whose company you enjoy in an online sense. But do kind of sit back and have a go. How is this piece of content making me feel in an immediate sense? Is it making me feel even just like 5% slightly panicked that I don't have the vocabulary yet? Oh God, I will never be advanced because I don't know this phrase. You know, just pay attention to that, because if that's how they're making you feel, I mean, that isn't a healthy feeling. It's not a nice feeling. It's not a pleasant feeling. And then also maybe be a bit critical about their motives. Why are they trying to make you feel insecure? And of course, they might not be trying to. It might just be that you're in a place that receives it like that. That's fine. But yeah, just be a little bit be aware of how people make you feel online, and be aware that if you are serious about trying to build a really long-term healthy relationship with your language, some of the messages that are very, very common online are not going to be helpful to that. And be aware. I'm very tentative. I don't want to say like, don't follow these people, because that's not my place. It's not fair on them. It's not fair on me. It also presumes that you are susceptible to these messages in a way that actually you might say, hey, I disagree with that, but I really valued X from it, or I don't like it when this person posts this, but I really like their other posts, and so I'm choosing, obviously you will know how much things affect you or don't affect you, so there's no kind of didactic rule of what you should do, but it's an invitation to be aware, an invitation to recognize that the messages, the sea that you swim in, the messages that you surround yourself with very, very quickly become true. And likelihood is you're already in a sea of messages that feel true to you and are not necessarily true, and that need some kind of pushback. And to end this on a more positive note is to say that there are tons and tons of creators, not that many with hundreds of thousands of followers, unfortunately, but there are tons and tons of creators out there online who are much more language professionals than they are creator, which means that sometimes their reels aren't as snappy and they're not as entertaining, or they're not as consistently producing content, but that's because they've actually got their kind of language education hat on, and they are sharing really, really good messages that are healthy and that are based on genuine educational experience, and they are not going in for those quick wins of don't say this, say that, or how to sound like a native speaker. They're not going in for that. They're really going in for the healthier stuff. I like to include myself in this gang. But there are tons of others, and there's a wonderful woman called Sarah from Meaningful English. I think it's Meaningful English, yeah. Meaningful English, who has put together a little digital retreat because she recognized that not only are you, the learner, not always getting access to these lovely positive messages that actually move you forward in your relationship with English, but also it's a real chance for the colleagues who are working in that kind of sphere to get together and actually go, oh my God, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one with this positive message that is getting ignored by the rest of Instagram English. So Sarah has put together, along with, I think, Lisa and Tree are the other two people who were at the top of the organization. Apologies if I've misunderstood the dynamic. They've put together a retreat, and it's happening this Friday. So today is Wednesday, so we're talking 2 days time. This Friday and Saturday, and there are 9 of us in total, 9 educators, teachers and coaches who are delivering workshops all around this theme. The title of the retreat is Relax into Your English. It's about taking that pressure off. It's about finding your identity in English and recognizing that that's a thing. It's about combating the more emotional side of language learning. So I'll be delivering a workshop on managing your negative thoughts. So the little voice in your head that says you can't do something or criticizes you after you've done something for not doing it well enough. We're going to be looking at how you can just turn the volume down on that voice. I know Suki from English Language Every Day is going to be delivering a workshop on celebrating your wins. So really leaning into the positive side of English language learning and developing that muscle for how to be proud of yourself. I've got a list up in front of me. Tree is looking at the nature of listening, and it's a relaxing workshop, kind of looking at sparking creativity. Catherine Angus from Here You Go is delivering a presentation also on listening, but this time on kind of a piece-to-piece approach of listening. The vibe that I'm getting is, it's the opposite of the frenetic, I'm going to teach you 100 phrasal verbs by the end of this course, and you're going to... It's not that. It is the absolute opposite of that, and I'm so delighted that I was invited because it tells me that something about my messaging is right. People are seeing me as this kind of voice, and I'm really, really excited to work with this team. So just a quick list of everyone who's working. We've got Catherine from Catherine Angus Here You Go. We've got Yelena from Cambridge English Ellen. We've got Joanna from Walking Languages, which is I'm really interested in listening to her workshop because I want to find out. I've been following her for ages. I really want to find out more about how she incorporates like going for walks with language learning. Fascinating. There's Katie from English Customised. There's Lisa from Your English Self. So she's a neuro-language coach. Again, really looking forward to her talk. She's looking at the importance of finding community in English language learning. There's me, who's talking about navigating negative thoughts. There's Sarah, who's talking about journaling and the importance of journaling in kind of building your confidence in English. We've got Suki, who's talking about celebrating your wins, and we've got Tree, who's talking about listening. So if you haven't already signed up, I know a whole bunch of you have, which is really exciting. If you haven't already signed up, you can find a link in my bio. And it's completely free, which is phenomenal. You'll get a chance to meet and chat with a whole bunch of other English language learners, people like you who are looking for something a little bit more, and also us. So the teachers, we're all going to be there in the Facebook group. We're going to be chatting before, during and after our workshops. If you can't make it on Friday and Saturday, that's a shame. It will be great to be there live, but the replays of all the workshops will be available for another 2 weeks. So I guess my message from you today is really be careful about the messages that you have around you. You know, you will at some point end up having to do the hard work of unpacking some of those negative things, and the sooner that you can shut them up in your environment, the better. And the best thing to do is replace them with the more positive stuff. And that is my invitation for you this weekend to join our digital retreat. It is a positive, relaxing, professional, educational space. And it is an absolute pleasure and an absolute privilege for me to be part of it. It'd be an honour for you to be there. Can't wait to see you. And blah, blah, blah. Bye.